So sorry, I'm looking kind of stanky. Anyway, I was just getting ready to go to bed, and I remembered that I told you guys that I would get on tonight and do a live and kind of talk about my addiction story time and kind of like tell you guys, for those of you that are new to my channel, because I know that there's some of you that are new that maybe haven't heard my story or you're not familiar with it. So I'm just going to start out and tell you a little bit about me. So my name is Nicole, and I am 36 years old, and I grew up in Arkansas. I was born in New York, but I grew up and was raised in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I have two little sisters. I'm the oldest, and then I have, my parents are still married to this day. And I grew up in a pretty awesome family. My parents are super supportive of me now, and they were when I was a child. We weren't like super wealthy or anything, but we weren't like dog ass poor. We were just like a middle class family. And so when I was growing up, when I was younger, I had everything I could ever want, I went to small little country school in Hot Springs, and I went there all my life from like kindergarten till I graduated, and it was good. Like, it was a good experience. Like, for the most part, with the exception of like little things like when you're younger, like getting made fun of when I was little, because at the school I went to, I was one of the only kids that was like not white. And mom's Mexican and my dad's Italian, and so that was like just took some of the other kids getting used to, because I was from a really small town, you guys. It's like a little country town, and so they would call me taco and burrito, and I remember that really bothered me, but I didn't realize how much it bothered me, I guess, until like now I look back on it, and that kind of like began some of the hard times for me, like the insecurity that I felt and the like not sureness of myself. So anyway, growing up, I was super like into sports. I played softball and basketball. I was on the dance squad, and I really was super active at school. So through high school, I had a boyfriend, and he was like the first guy that I'd ever been with, and so like I fell in love with him. And he was also like the first person to introduce me to like pot and pills, and that was like the first time I'd ever tried any kind of drugs. I think I was like 17. And it was just like innocent at first. Just started out with smoking a little pot here and there, and nothing big. No, and I didn't think it was ever going to turn into anything big until one time we were at this party, and he was like, "Hey, you want to try this cocaine?" And when I tried cocaine, you guys, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before in my life. And it kind of like filled that hole inside of me and gave me confidence that like I didn't have. Like, and then like, so that became like a regular thing for me, like drinking and using cocaine at parties, like. And so it gave me like superwoman powers, and it also made me feel skinny, and I would lose weight. And I was always like fluctuating with my weight when I was younger. Like, I really always had issues with holding a certain weight. I was always up and down, up and down. So when I through my senior year in high school, I got pretty dependent on amphetamines, cocaine, and I was drinking every weekend, like a lot. And I was partying really hard. I was starting to not come home to my parents' house, and I was getting in a lot of trouble, but my parents were super overwhelmed because my other sister, we were like really close in age, and we were all starting to kind of act bad at the same time. So there was three of us, and my parents were just overwhelmed with my other sister, because she was acting a little bit worse than I was. So that kind of like kept them busy, and I just kept on getting higher and using more and more drugs and experimenting with more and more drugs. Once I graduated out of high school, I enrolled into a community college, and That's when I started to meet a lot more people in my town that were like doing drugs that I like to do, like methamphetamines and opiates. And that's where I started to like really get hooked on meth. And you'll hear through my story, like I would meet these guys and I would date these guys that were just pieces of shit, that were just like, my mom would and dad would say that we were unequally yoked, and meaning like, like I met this guy, his name was LD, and the reason I'm saying his name now is because he's dead, you guys. He died in a drunk driving accident some years ago. But I met him after me and my first boyfriend broke up, and he was homeless, but he had meth all the time. And so like I worked 2 jobs, and we got in a little apartment, and we would just do dope all day every day, and I would go to my 2 jobs. And that's when the beginning of like me doing all those things I said I would never do started. Like I moved into this little 1-bedroom apartment with roaches and rats, a used mattress. Like, you guys, it was disgusting. It was right across the street from the strip club downtown, in the town I lived in. And you could hear cop cars all night long and police sirens. And we had like a little like stove thingy, and then like a bathroom. It was like a communal bathroom though in the hallway. You guys, it was like the slum of the slums. I mean, it was so bad. Like, we were naming the cockroaches like Jose and Guadalupe. I mean, I laugh about it now, but I look back on it and I'm like, that's when it all started. Like, my morals and my values and my standards just started creeping lower and lower and lower. And the higher I would get and the more drugs I would do, the more I wouldn't care where I was at, and the more I wouldn't care what I was doing or who I was living with or what I was living in. There was times when we wouldn't have any running water. There's times where we wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom without like having to get a bucket and pour it down the toilet. It was really, really bad, you guys. And so I remember I worked so hard to get us a little trailer out on this piece of property. It was a really nice trailer. It was like an older trailer, but it was nice. And my mom helped me find it. And LD got a job, and he started working for construction, and we started kind of like doing okay. And we would like have brief stints of sobriety, but we never stayed sober. Like on the weekend, we knew we were going to get high because we were going to buy drugs with our money from work. And so all this like kept going for a really long time. I was with him for 6 years. And about 3 years into our relationship, he started to hit me and to beat me. And it would be in like these psychoses when he would be awake from doing too much meth for so long, and I would be up too long, and we would both just be fighting and arguing. And I was working like 2 jobs at that time, and he was just working his little 1 job, and I was always so resentful towards him because it was like I felt like I was doing everything, and it was really hard. But I didn't leave, and I stayed there, and I let him hit me and beat me because it was like I didn't think I could do any better, you guys. I didn't think that I deserved anyone better. I didn't think I deserved to be treated better. And I stayed with him for many, many years after that, many hospital visits after that, many black eyes and hurt, busted lips. And I would go to work, and the ladies at my job knew, but they just wouldn't say anything, because I would lie about it. Well, the more he hit me, the more my addiction just kept on spiraling out of control. And I started to heavily become dependent on opiates and benzos. And that's what I would always do. Like, I would always feel like, okay, I'm getting too out of control on meth. Now I'm going to start just taking Xanax and methadone. And I'll just taper off the meth for a little while. And I was always trying to find that, like, happy balance where I could get high and use drugs and not have negative consequences. So I was always trying to find this new way to use and get high without, having problems. And so I was constantly changing it up like that. But one thing that never changed is I would never have like long times of sobriety, like 6 months, never. 3 months, a month, I would make it 30 days, white knuckling it, trying not to use every day. And so when me and him finally broke up, it was because he left me and he never came back. He just left and never came home one night. And I remember I was devastated. I cried and I cried and I cried, you guys. And it broke my heart. And I didn't know what to do. And so I moved in with a friend named Nicole and her boyfriend Jeremy. God rest his soul. He overdosed and died a couple of years later. So he's been gone for over 10 years now. But a lot of people that I was friends with died from their addiction. And I moved in with them and we just went on this crack binge, smoking crack, tripping acid, and doing ecstasy. And I would eat ecstasy pills by 2 or 3 at a time, you guys. I was just eating them every day. Just trying not to think about it, trying not to feel anything, because I was so heartbroken that LD left me and didn't even say goodbye. He just left, you guys, to go be with another girl. And I had like taken care of him for so many years. And so it fucked me up. Like my heart was broken, and so I was living with Jeremy and Nicole and we were partying, and I ended up losing my really good job. I was working for the state at the DMV, and I got fired from there because I was embezzling and making fake IDs, and they caught me. And thank God they didn't prosecute me, because my dad was friends with the district manager of over all the revenue offices. So I kind of got lucky with that, but it was still horrible because I had no way to support my drug habit now. Like I had this huge dependency, guys, huge dependency on opiates and benzos and whatever else I could put in my system, but like withdrawal was not an option. So I got another job working for Sonic and a gas station, and it was just like, you guys, this is where things got really bad and I started to like really struggle. And this is one of the first times like I asked for help and went to treatment. And this is when I went to treatment in Little Rock. I drove myself all the way up here to Little Rock, and I had taken like 10 bars of Xanax, and they let me go to treatment here for 30 days. And I was higher than Cooter Brown when I got to treatment, but they took me, and I was so thankful for them taking me. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to get this. That was my first time in treatment, you guys. And I went 5 times total and 1 prison stint. So I'm going to stop right here, and we will continue this tomorrow. I'll tell you the second part of my addiction story time. And it's just like starting out where I just got out of my first treatment center, and we'll start there, okay? Because this is already 15 minutes long, and I don't want to bore you guys. So I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a great night. I'm here for you if you need to talk. I've been through a lot of shit in my addiction, stuff that I didn't have to go through, but I did. And so if you ever need to talk or you ever need anything, just reach out to me. I'm here for you. I know what it feels like to feel like you're all alone and that there's no way out, but there is, and there's hope. And you don't have to live another day like you're living today if you're struggling.